Come on in, sit back and relax. You're listening to the Wealth Tech Today podcast. And I'm your host, Craig Iskowitz, founder of Ezra Group Consulting. And this podcast features interviews, news, and analysis on the trends and best practices all around wealth management technology. My guest for this episode was Susan McKenna, CEO of eMoney Advisor. Now, Susan has had an interesting journey to reach this step in her career. She spent just a few decades in marketing roles, working her way up to Chief Marketing Officer, where she developed and executed successful marketing strategies at a number of fintech firms. She eventually made her way to eMoney back in March of 2018, where she was hired as a CMO again, but eventually was promoted to interim CEO in March of 2022, and then became the official CEO in August of 2022. In our discussion, we spoke about a little bit of the history of eMoney, product modernization strategy that she is executing at eMoney now. We talked about a new version of their ubiquitous client portal that came out a couple of months ago and what that means for eMoney clients. We touched on their account aggregation technology and then mentioned Yodlee being sold by Envestnet and how that would impact them. Talked about their upcoming client summit, and she gave us a little peek at their product roadmap. And then, of course, we talked about AI and automation in financial planning. And speaking of AI, what is your firm's AI strategy? Do you even have one? If not, you are just flying blind into a storm of changes coming for our industry. Here at Ezra Group, we help wealth management firms like yours turn your AI chaos into a competitive advantage. Check out our tech stack and AI strategy solutions, which are built specifically for advisory businesses, integrating custodial feeds, portfolio management systems, CRM platforms, and AI tools into a single, scalable source of truth. If you want to free your firm for exponential growth, you need to run, not walk, to our website, ezragroup.com, and click the golden Contact Us button on the homepage. Whether you're building or evaluating your first AI-powered solution or struggling with a bloated tech stack that's become a liability, the experienced team at Ezra Group will help you design, optimize, and future-proof your infrastructure. We know what works and what doesn't. Visit ezragroup.com to learn more and schedule a free consultation today. All right, standard housekeeping chores. Please subscribe to the podcast, yada, yada, yada. Invest in Others Charitable Foundation is one of our sponsors. Please check them out at investinothers.org. If you are a software vendor in our space, you need to register at our vendor portal, ezragroup.com/register, so that our wealth tech integration score for your product is always up to date. And now, let's kick this thing off. All right, I'm excited to introduce our next guest. It's Susan McKenna, CEO of eMoney. Susan, so great to see you.
Craig, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
I'm excited we could get it scheduled. You are a very, very busy person running a very, very important product for advisors. Where are you calling in from?
I am calling you from outside of Philadelphia. Go Birds.
Go Birds. We just no one knows this, but we just spent the last 15 minutes talking Eagles. It's Eagle. This is being where we're recording this on September 3rd, and tomorrow night is the Eagles-Cowboys first game of the season, which I'm going to, and Susan's not. Sorry, Susan. I'll wave at you when you see me in the camera. And we were very close to making this an Eagles podcast, but we're not going to do that. We're going to make this an eMoney podcast. But we might throw a couple of Eagles comments in. All right. So, Susan, for anybody who doesn't know, I can't imagine who listens to this podcast and doesn't know eMoney.
Sure.
Give us the 30-second elevator pitch.
Yeah, obviously, I'm passionate about both of those things, eMoney and my Philadelphia Eagles. But we are the market leader in providing financial planning solutions for the financial planning industry. We are a planning-centric financial technology company. We have just celebrated last month our 25th anniversary. Feel like we're a market leader in the field and have stayed true to our focus for a very long time in helping a myriad of incredible clients that we are very lucky to work with.
That is awesome. And speaking of the 25th anniversary, so Ezra Group, my firm, this is our 20th year. So we're just a little bit behind you guys.
Milestone.
We both have milestones.
Good for you.
Congratulations. But speaking of the 25th anniversary, so there is something I say a lot. So obviously we're a technology firm and we work with a lot of your clients. And one thing that is good and bad. So it's good when you have a product like eMoney that has become so
Yeah.
successful that it's used by a large percentage of advisors to run their part of a very, very important part of their business. But one of the downsides of being that successful is your software becomes legacy. And the larger you grow, the more your clients tend to run your roadmap rather than looking
Mhm.
forward because they've had so much control. So, how have you been able to how's eMoney been able to modernize the platform's architecture while still staying true to its planning centric roots?
Well, it's a great question as somebody who spent their career in software and services. And eventually, if you're lucky enough, you do become legacy. So we've spent the past few years uh, doing what we call the dual mandate, which is modernizing our technology to give us more flexibility while at the same time creating new functionality that users want and need. I think you touched on something important, which is, listening to your clients. There's a fine line between listening to your clients and having them drive your
Hmm.
product roadmap. And I think we do a little bit of both, right? Because when you start talking to enough people where things become a trend or a pain point in the industry, if it's not on our roadmap, we definitely want to go back and look at why or why not, right? And create a position on that. So that's worked well for us and certainly helped increase our velocity. Everybody establishes tech debt, but if you can kind of look at that and while you're modernizing your technology stack, focus on those things that matter. That's what we've really been doing over the past couple of years.
As someone who stepped into fintech leadership from a strong marketing background, you worked for a lot of as chief marketing officer for a lot of firms, including for IBM. So,
Yeah.
how was that transition from chief marketing and revenue officer into the CEO role?
Yeah, I've said this many times, but every day I'm reminded how true it is. Just the breadth of what keeps me up at night has changed.
Mhm.
When you are running a marketing organization or you're owning that number in sales and you're very focused on that, but as CEO, just some days I'm focused on how do we maintain our culture in a remote work environment? Do we have industry leading benefits package?
Mm.
Are we staying ahead of our competitors? Are we keeping pace with our technology modernization? There's just so many things that I think running a singular function versus running an entire company. Um, I always feel committed to our stakeholders, whether I'm running marketing or whether I'm running a company, but keeping that at the forefront and just cognizant of the entire breadth and depth of what worries me is probably the biggest change.
Indeed. And you started at eMoney a little over 7 years ago. So you've
Yeah.
only known them from the Fidelity ownership point of view.
Yes.
Right. So but also coming in from a lot of other experiences coming into this company that's owned by one of the largest investment management firms in the world. How do you
Yes.
balance the autonomy you want and innovation with access to Fidelity's resources and obviously their top-down management style?
Yeah. So joining post acquisition, I only knew eMoney as this wholly owned subsidiary of Fidelity. Our entire board is made up of Fidelity, and they have been incredibly supportive of me and the rest of the eMoney organization. They're planning centric, just as we are. And this was a large acquisition in the industry at the time. So being able to leverage the resources they have, but still do what's best for us as a financial technology company has been nothing but an advantage. We, at the time of the acquisition, we said we were going to remain agnostic, and we've stayed true to that. And that's been a great benefit to us. We have shared clients with Fidelity, but we also have clients on all of the other custodial platforms as well, which allows us to stay true to our mission and vision that we established. But it's been great. It's been great for both sides.
That is good to hear, and I'm sure advisors back way back in 2015 when the purchase was announced were a little bit worried about that.
Yeah.
But since then, I think it's been pretty much smooth sailing.
Yeah.
And there's been certainly not playing any favorites. And eMoney's gotten plenty of funding for just about anything they wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean, from that perspective, honestly, being able to call them and take advantage of relationships that they have with vendors or whatever support we need, they've been incredibly supportive of us innovating and trying different things. If they work, great. If they don't work, at least we had the opportunity to try. So many, many conversations over the years in that regard. And I think they've been very, very pleased with our growth and our overall scores, if you want to look at it like that, the metrics that companies look at to decide if they're running well.
Indeed. I want to throw you a little bit of a curveball. I want to talk
Okay.
about, so Michael Kitces is and he and I partner on a bunch of stuff. He was just on our 300th episode, which anybody
Okay.
listening can check out. And they do an annual survey, a technology survey. And the market share is slowly shifting. And there's also a huge boom in specialized planning tools.
Hmm.
And eMoney has obviously been changing it and expanding your features functionality.
Yeah.
What are some of the things you're seeing, and how is the incredible number of specialized planning tools that are coming on the market, is that influencing your roadmap at all?
This whole notion of build, buy, and partner, and how do you look at that ecosystem as you watch his map continue to get bigger and bigger? I have to keep enlarging it just to even see who's on the radar this week. We don't want to be everything to everybody, and that's part of our core mission. And staying true to that over the years has enabled us. And then our premium APIs that we launched just a year or two ago, which allow us to then integrate with a myriad of providers, I think 30 over the past year or so, because these are things that they're specialized in. That's their niche, not ours. We want to stay focused on planning. So I look at that with great interest. I look at that map. We want to be a best breed, excuse me. So I look at who else can establish themselves as a best of breed in a market that we don't necessarily want to specialize in. And we have our product team look deeply into that. Is this somebody that we should integrate with? And if so, what does that look like?
Well, there's no interview can go on any podcast these days without talking a little bit about AI. So I've got a couple of AI questions I wanted to run by
Sure,
you.
go for it.
Um, so we're clearly seeing a huge shift in firms launching AI tools,
Yep.
technologies, features, functionality. Everyone's rushing in. I haven't really seen a lot of news about AI from eMoney. So how are you applying AI into your planning workflows while still keeping the advisor connection front and center?
Yeah. So it wouldn't be a podcast or actually a day of the week if we didn't
Mm,
talk about AI in some capacity. So thank
mm,
you for doing that.
mm,
Let me go back to what I said about integrations a minute ago. So AI note taking, we're using them now, right? So we've got integrations with Jump and with Zox, and that's an area where we said we're not going to be building that. There's some that have already been built for financial advisors, so we'll integrate with them. It's a good example. But when you look at AI in the planning process, we're going to slow roll this. Why? We're in a highly regulated industry. We have to be very careful about the data that we have. We view AI certainly as a tool that's going to help drive efficiency for their clients, for our advisors, but I don't think we see AI as giving advice. And I think that starts to tread on some very precarious waters. So we're looking into that in terms of how can we help automate and improve the workflow at the front end for advisors, but in no way be perceived as giving advice. How do we help you drive that efficiency? I think it was Jamie Hopkins from Finser Foundation posted something earlier this week on LinkedIn. And I was like, bravo. He said, AI can't
mm.
build trust,
Right.
at least not yet, right? Not yet. So I think advisors are going to continue to look at kind of the outcome here and not necessarily how you got there. Did you use AI to get there? Did you use another process to automate this and make my life easier so I could spend more time with my clients? But I agree with that. So it goes a bit further than saying the personalized aspect of an advisor and their client. It's the trust. Right now, that's not where we are with AI. Don't know where we'll be in a year, but right now, I tend to agree with Jamie. That's not where
Mhm.
we are.
Yeah, I have a couple comments on that. So one is that
Please.
the AI note takers, AI assistants, and we did a strategic buyer's guide at Ezra Group. You can anyone who's here can go to wealthtechtoday.com and you can at the top of the page you can click and check out our AI note takers buyer's guide. What we're finding is that these note takers are very quickly morphing into advisor desktop solutions. They're not just note takers. Since they're basically becoming the filter, the front end to all client information that's coming into the firm. So if you now control all the client information as the AI assistant, tool, note taker, whatever the new name is going to be, advisor operating
Right,
system. Now,
right.
for example, Jump launched integrations with eMoney and MoneyGate Pro, where they can push data right into your application. So
Mhm.
the advisor has a meeting, the note taker takes all the notes, extracts the information, says, "Hey, should I push this to eMoney?" Advisor looks at it, goes, "Yes," pushes a button, and in one shot, it sends all the data to eMoney. It can also then pull that information from eMoney for the prepping of the meeting. So say, "Hey, we're going to prep the meeting." Excuse me, pull the data from our notes from here from eMoney. Now here's your meeting prep, Mr. and Mrs. Advisor. It's all
Right.
nice and neatly and tied up in a bow for you. I'm never going back to eMoney, right? It's very rare. Only when I'm doing a new plan or actually going into a new plan. So do you see yourself being disintermediated by these note takers because they're just pulling and pushing information into you? It risks turning you into just a repository.
Yeah, I obviously in my role, I'm going to have a different perspective on that than someone else because there's value in the collaborative discussions that our
Mm,
advisors have with their clients while they're pulling up e-money and they're looking at it and they're doing different scenarios. It's not as simple as just a data dump and
mm,
spitting that out. It's about the intellectual conversation. It's about understanding what their goals and needs are and so forth. So I don't see that. I think, we're all for anything that's going to make an advisor's life easier
mm,
and more efficient, but it's all in the spirit of collaborating and customizing for their clients.
mm. Excellent. That's an excellent and very diplomatic answer to that question. I had another question about safeguarding against the use of AI, but you kind of answered that in the other question. Um,
Yeah.
Here's another great question for you. So
Okay.
one of the incredible features of eMoney and was criticized at the time, this is many years ago, was the client portal. And people said, "Why are you building a client portal? You're a financial planning tool." And now it's become something that people even buy the software for. First off, and say, "Oh, now we'll use the financial planning as well," but we love the portal. It's one of the most popular portals in the industry. And you recently
Yep.
launched a premium version of the
We
client
did.
portal. So what is that? What new features does it have? And how are your clients responding to it?
So the premium client portal has at the forefront of it a mobile application, which is something that folks have been asking about for years. And so we've seen a lot of demand here. We released the client portal, premium client portal, April 1st. And we've just had tremendous response to that in terms of demand and response to the webinars we go to, trade show activity, all of that good kind of thing. It just puts information at the fingertips of our advisors and allows them to collaborate. Again, people like to collaborate in different ways, and mobile is certainly something. Look, I'm standing here with my phone right here, not paying attention to it because I'm talking to you, Craig. But if I was not on this engaging podcast, I would no doubt have my phone, my iPad, and a myriad of other things at my fingertips. So bringing that portal with mobile to market was something that, again, we had a lot of demand for, a lot of interest in, and folks are very appreciative of the opportunity to increase the collaboration with their clients.
Mobile is definitely the way to go. I mean, we're seeing obviously, this huge shift to mobile happened years ago. I think our industry was very slow to adapt to the mobile experience. And one other thing that I like to bring up is the proliferation of client portals. While eMoney has one of the most popular client portals, there's still
Yeah,
so many. And many firms
yeah,
have to manage not just one, but three or four portals for different aspects. They're custodians, insurance, other things they need to keep switching back and forth to different through different portals. Portfolio management as a portal, CRM as a portal. Of course, eMoney's got a portal. So
it's a
how do you
lot.
see that impacting your portal users, and do you plan to expand the new premium portal into more of a portal of portals?
It's a good question. I probably would need to ask our head of product what's ahead there on the roadmap, but I think that that's something that continues to come to the forefront in the spirit of what we were talking about before. What are the things that we think we should own and build as a planning centric fintech? What are the things that we think we should partner or integrate with because we want to take advantage of what's in the marketplace and further simplify this desktop for the advisors? It's getting very cluttered, it's getting very busy. We hear this from large enterprises all the time. Once our premium APIs were released, it was okay, well, here's what I'm trying to accomplish. And we said, well, you can do that and consolidate these efforts across your organization by using these APIs, and further simplifying what they were trying to do, depending on what their ecosystem looks like. Again, these very large organizations. So the notion of a portal of portals, I don't know yet. I think it's something that will continue to come to the fore as that landscape on Michael's chart continues to change.
And just to let you know, Michael and I do that chart together. We partner on that. We've
Nice.
been doing it for 7 years, and it's really changed. You mentioned it's changed tremendously. When we first started, it had 80 applications and 20 categories, and now it's 500. 500, almost closing in on 600 applications and 60 categories.
So are you saying that that is 7 years old, or you've been partnering with him for 7 years?
Michael started it in 2017, and I came on board in 2019 to help him with it. In 2019, I sent him a
Okay,
really long email and said, Michael, I love your map idea, but a lot of
great,
it's wrong. These applications are in the wrong categories. And I gave him a whole list. And he
nice.
goes, can you meet with me tomorrow and talk about this? And so we started talking about it. Then now we meet every month and review the map and all the changes and updates, new applications. So we've been doing that for 7 years.
It's funny you said that. I joined eMoney in the beginning of 2018,
Mm,
and I came from the environment where you were constantly trying to get yourself in the upper right Gartner Magic
mm,
Quadrant,
yeah.
right? So I looked at that chart as, okay, this is where we need to be. I
Mhm,
need to make sure we're here. And I've watched so many come and go, but also the recategorization, right?
mhm,
Folks that launch as one thing and inevitably end up in another piece of that chart.
mhm,
So I watch that and I expand it whenever it gets reposted with
mhm.
great interest to see kind of who is trying to be more than what they originally set out to be in our ever-changing landscape versus who's staying true to kind of their one and only mantra.
It is an interesting uh, uh, strategy of many firms. It's what's often called land and expand. You come in
Yeah,
with
for
one
sure.
piece of functionality and you start expanding into others.
That's
And
right.
many applications have started as standalone point solutions and realize they can't survive. And either they
Right.
sell or they expand. I mean,
Right.
you look at firms like Tamarac. Tamarac was
Yep.
the rebalancer when it first started. It's
Yep.
all it did. And then it was acquired by Envestnet, and they started expanding and building it out into a full RIA platform. Orion was just a portfolio accounting tool and then
Similarly.
expanded into a full platform. Black Diamond was a performance reporting and expanded. So we've seen it constantly happening.
Yeah, and I think it really depends what your strategy is. I would tell you that eMoney's version of that expansion is our platform story and strategy, right? We kind of cut our teeth in the advanced planning sector. And for many, many years, in fact, until 2019, right? The company was launched in 2000. And for 19 years, we focused on advanced planning until we were bombarded by folks in the market and companies that we talked to. And we realized we needed the continuity of a full spectrum planning, enterprise grade platform that allowed folks to graduate from a simple goals based plan all the way up to a sophisticated advanced planning. And so that's kind of how we've stretched and flexed and done that land and expand story, is by having foundational planning sit alongside advanced planning. So no matter where you are in your planning cycle, no matter what your book of business looks like, you can be on a single platform and have this seamless user experience across them.
One other area that you have a differentiation in and something you've decided to build yourself, speaking of partnering, is account aggregation. eMoney's always
Yeah.
had your own internally developed account aggregation, and
Yes.
this topic came up most recently when Envestnet announced that they were selling Yodlee, which they had
Mm-hmm.
acquired 10 years earlier for
Yep.
$600 million
A lot
or
of
something,
money.
a lot of money, and they didn't get anywhere near that. They sold it for pennies. So did that change the way you look at your account aggregation technology? Have you ever thought about outsourcing that, or do you see it as a core deliverable you're going to keep internally?
I would never say never, but I would tell you today never, because we're incredibly proud of having this aggregation technology in house. Just the security, the stability, the reliability. I mean, this is something that up until recently we never offered outside of the box. We recently reactively, I will say, engage in conversations with clients who wanted to use eMoney aggregation as a service, if you will. So we're having those exploratory conversations. We've had several folks buy eMoney for that intention, and in fact have shown up on many lists as best in aggregation without even having kind of that separate offering. I'm really proud of the work the team has done to make that a solid piece of our offering, both in the box and standalone.
We're almost out of time. Man, this goes by fast. Just like summer, the podcast goes by fast. So looking ahead, you have an upcoming client summit
We
soon,
do.
right? Congratulations on that. And so, what are the themes and what technology innovations, what's coming to the pike in the next 12 months that advisors can expect?
I can't tell you that, then I would have to kill you and you'd miss the Eagles game. So um, first of all, I would invite you to attend, right? You'll hear the full product roadmap at Summit. I won't give too much away. I'll kind of focus on some of the themes. We're leveraging our 25th anniversary to focus on a couple of themes at the upcoming Summit. We always tie it out to research that we do and unveil that and the findings at Summit. Delivering scalable, intelligent planning across every type of client. We've talked about that, whether it's advisor led, whether it's a hybrid approach, or whether it's client led. Seamless collaboration through a modern, intuitive client portal. So you'll hear more details. You asked about the premium client portal. We also continue to invest in our client portal, not our premium client portal, right? Both in terms of expanding the functionality there. Lastly, I would say unlocking the power of planning data through what we've been talking about, open integrations, through advanced analytics, and actionable business intelligence. So stay tuned. Lots of great keynotes and some really nice research in support of those three kind of strategic pillars, as well as our 25th anniversary celebration.
That sounds awesome. I'd advise everyone to attend, especially if you're an eMoney client, or even if you're thinking about
Thank you.
uh, new financial planning software, you should go check out the eMoney Summit. So, Susan, we've just about hit the end here. Where can anyone listening find more information about eMoney?
They can find more information at emoneyadvisor.com. You can also find information about our upcoming summit there. Yeah, that's probably the easiest place to go.
And for more information about the Philadelphia Eagles, look everywhere on the internet. You'll find it, not a problem. And you look for me on TV tomorrow. I'll be in
I'll see you
section
there.
231, screaming my head off, wearing my new Cooper DeJean jersey.
Nice. Well, I will be on my couch cheering you and the rest of the Philadelphia Eagles on.
All right.
Go Birds.
It's Dallas week. Go Birds. Thanks, Susan.
Thank you, Craig.
Hey, it's Craig again. Here are my top three takeaways from this episode. Susan explained how she has a dual mandate of modernizing eMoney's technology while creating new functionality, as we expected. All CEOs really have that. But she talked about a balance between listening to clients and driving their own product roadmap, focusing on financial planning while integrating and specializing tools in other areas. We talked a bit about their APIs and how we weren't really happy with them a couple of years ago, but in the last 24 to 18 months, they've gotten a lot better, and they've really put a lot of effort and money into expanding and building out their APIs, which we love here at Ezra Group. We talked about their new client portal, which is called the Premium Client Portal, launched in April, that includes mobile app capabilities. There's been a high demand and positive response from advisors for mobile functionality, and they're considering ways to simplify and consolidate multiple portals for advisors, which we are really excited about. We touched on their account aggregation technology. Susan said eMoney plans to maintain their proprietary in-house aggregation technology, not thinking about selling it or outsourcing it like Envestnet's doing. They see it as a core differentiator, providing security, stability, and reliability. And she did talk about the upcoming eMoney Client Summit and a little bit about the roadmap. She was a little cagey about the roadmap, but so I understand that. She wanted to save something for the summit. But some of the key themes they're talking about are scalable planning, seamless client collaboration, unlocking data insights, and of course, a focus on open integrations, analytics, and business intelligence. All right, you've hit it. You've reached the end of another episode of the Wealth Tech Today podcast. Thanks for listening. But before you go, head to our website, ezragroup.com, scroll to the bottom of the homepage, and sign up for our newsletter. Once a month, you'll receive an email chock full of wealth management goodness, news, information, and updates. You will not be disappointed. Thanks again for listening, and talk to you all again next time.